college reveals the struggles, the divisions, the doubts that we now carry about the American dream. But listen closely, and you'll also hear voices reminding us not to buy into the doom loop, that the long-term trend is still toward progress, and that the dream, while challenged, is not gone. So as students collect their books and get on back to school, that's a lesson worth taking with them. Do you think the American dream, that if you work hard, you'll get ahead, still holds true, never held true, or once held true but does not anymore? I'll give you results at the end of the hour. With regard to the American dream, is our pessimism justified?
A little bit yes, a little bit no. Right. So if you dig into the numbers, Americans have real concerns about the economy. They're concerned about affordability today, and they're also worried about the future. They're worried that tariffs are going to send inflation in the wrong direction. They're worried that the job market is screeching to a halt. They're worried about things like AI. But we've had tough economic moments in the past. In fact, much tougher moments. And pessimism now is as low as it's ever been.
You looked at the data. I referenced in my commentary that you looked at the data about attitudes and the tangible metrics, and you saw something happen at about the time of the pandemic that has not returned to where it was. Could you explain that?
Yeah. So, over time, there's usually a reliable relationship between the strength of the economy, the hard numbers that economists like me look at, and what people say in polls about how they're feeling. But those two trend lines diverged at the start of the pandemic, and that divergence has continued. At first, I think inflation was a factor that was really leaving people glum about the economy. But now it's a range of other factors, and a whole bunch of it is unexplained. Leading explaining factor is social media, like you said. People go on Instagram and they're much more likely to see a post from the Ritz than the Motel 6. And I think it gives people a skewed picture of what it means to be successful, what it means to have a good life in our country.